Ladies and gentlemen, let's start with a simple truth. What you say to yourself matters. Every single day, we are engaged in a silent conversation with ourselves, one that shapes our mindset, influences our emotions, and directs our actions. Affirmations are not just fluffy phrases or wishful thinking. When used with intention, they become a powerful tool to rewire your brain. Science backs this up. Studies show that positive self-talk can reduce stress, improve performance, and boost self-esteem. But here's the key. Affirmations only work when they are honest, present, and emotionally resonant. You can't just repeat something you don't believe in. Instead of saying, "I am a millionaire," if that feels false, try, "I am learning to create abundance in my life." Every day, we are surrounded by noise, notifications, conversations, deadlines, and distractions. But in the midst of all that noise, there's one voice that has more impact than any other, the voice in your own mind. It's the constant narrator, the voice that comments on everything you do, everything you are, and everything you hope to become. That voice becomes the foundation of your reality. And that's why the words you speak to yourself, those simple, often unnoticed affirmations, hold incredible power. We often think of words as just tools for communication, but they are so much more than that. Words are the building blocks of thought, and thoughts shape our identity. Imagine for a moment that every word you say to yourself is a brick. With each brick, you are constructing something, a mindset, a belief, a worldview. If those bricks are full of doubt, fear, or negativity, the structure you build will be shaky, unstable, and fragile. But if they're filled with encouragement, belief, compassion, and strength, then what you build will stand tall, strong, and resilient. This is where daily affirmations come in. They're not magic spells. They don't instantly change your life, but they do change the direction of your focus. They redirect your attention away from fear, failure, and unworthiness, and toward possibility, growth, and self-love. Most people go through life without ever questioning the things they repeat in their own minds. They say things like, "I'm not good enough," "I always mess this up," or "That's just the way I am." They think it's harmless, but it's not. Those statements are affirmations too, just negative ones. The real power of affirmations lies not in their complexity, but in their consistency. When you affirm something positive to yourself day after day, you are creating a new internal reality. You are teaching your brain to look for evidence that supports that statement. It's called confirmation bias. The mind naturally filters information to confirm what it already believes. If you tell yourself repeatedly, "I am not confident," your brain will notice every shaky voice, every moment of hesitation, and every failure, and use them as proof that you were right. But if you begin to tell yourself, "I am becoming more confident each day," your brain will start scanning your life for proof of that too. Suddenly, speaking up in a meeting or making eye contact in conversation becomes evidence of progress. Over time, those small wins reinforce a new belief. Now, I want to be honest, affirmations will not feel natural in the beginning. They may feel awkward or even false. That's okay. That's not a sign that you're doing them wrong. It's a sign that your current beliefs are being challenged. If you've spent years telling yourself you're not good enough, then saying "I am worthy" will feel foreign. It will feel like a lie, but think of it like learning a new language. At first, every word feels clumsy, but the more you practice, the more fluent you become. Affirmations work the same way. They become believable through repetition, through emotional connection, and through consistent reinforcement. The key to making affirmations work is authenticity. You don't have to pretend everything is perfect. You don't need to plaster over real challenges with fake positivity. What you need is an honest, empowering message that reflects where you are and where you want to go. For example, you don't need to say, "I love everything about myself," if you're not there yet. You can say, "I am learning to appreciate myself more each day." That's real, that's believable, that's powerful. You're not denying your current struggle. You're just choosing a direction that feels hopeful and possible. And let's be clear, this isn't about ignoring reality. It's about shifting the way you respond to it. Life will still bring difficulties. You'll still have bad days, but affirmations give you a way to meet those challenges with a stronger inner voice. Instead of spiraling into self-criticism, you can ground yourself with words of support. You can say, "I am allowed to struggle and still be worthy." You can say, "This is hard, but I can handle hard things." Those words don't change the external problem, but they change your internal posture. They give you a more powerful place to stand. There's also a neurological basis for all this. The brain has something called neuroplasticity, its ability to form new connections and pathways based on repeated experience. When you say a positive affirmation over and over, especially when it's paired with emotion, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're creating a new mental habit. And just like any habit, the more you practice, the easier it becomes. Eventually, the affirmations you repeat become automatic thoughts, and those automatic thoughts become your default mindset. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine a person who struggles with self-doubt. Every time they try something new, their inner voice says, "You're not ready. You'll probably fail." That voice has played in the background for years. Now imagine that person begins a new affirmation. "I am prepared. I am capable of growth." At first, it sounds like a foreign language, but they say it anyway every morning, every evening, before big tasks, after small wins. Over weeks and months, something begins to shift. That old voice doesn't disappear completely, but it gets quieter, and the new voice, the one rooted in belief, starts to take center stage. That's the power of words. That's the power of choosing what you tell yourself. The truth is, you're always affirming something. Every thought, every belief, every phrase you repeat internally is shaping your self-concept. The question is, are you affirming your fears or are you affirming your strength? Are you reinforcing limitations or are you creating possibilities? Every morning when you wake up, you have a choice. You can let the day define your mood or you can use your words to define your mindset. Even 5 minutes of intentional affirmations can set the tone for your entire day. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be poetic. It just has to be true enough to believe and powerful enough to feel. Encourage you to begin not with doubt, not with shame, but with a simple declaration. Speak to yourself like someone you care about. Choose your words carefully. Repeat them with heart, because what you say to yourself is not just a reflection of who you are. It's a map of who you're becoming. When people first hear about affirmations, their initial response is often skepticism. They might think of overly cheerful mantras or feel like they're supposed to recite phrases that sound good but don't resonate with their reality. That's understandable, because let's be honest, saying something like, "I am a magnet for abundance," can feel hollow if you're behind on bills and struggling to make ends meet. The reason many affirmations fail to make a lasting impact is not because affirmations themselves are flawed, but because we're often using them without understanding what truly makes them work. Affirmations are not about blind positivity. They're not about ignoring your problems or pretending everything is fine. Instead, they're about intentionally shaping your self-talk to reflect the version of you that you are working toward. But for this process to be meaningful and transformational, affirmations must meet a few critical criteria. They must be believable, they must be in the present tense, and most importantly, they must be emotionally aligned with your truth. Let's start with believability. This is the foundation. If you say something to yourself that you fundamentally do not believe, your mind will reject it. You might repeat the words, but deep down, there's resistance. You might say, "I am successful," but if everything in your experience says otherwise, that phrase will bounce off your subconscious like a rubber ball hitting a brick wall. Your brain will fire back with, "That's not true. Look at your life. Look at the evidence." This inner conflict can create more frustration than healing. That's why effective affirmations need to be rooted in possibility rather than fantasy. There's a subtle but powerful difference between saying, "I am a millionaire," and saying, "I am learning how to create financial freedom." The former may feel like wishful thinking. The latter acknowledges your current state while guiding you in the direction you want to grow. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about affirming a truth you are willing to grow into. When you craft an affirmation that feels like a stretch, but is still believable, it becomes a bridge between where you are and where you want to go. Now let's talk about tense specifically, the power of the present. Our subconscious mind responds most strongly to what it perceives as current reality. Saying, "One day I will be confident," keeps confidence in the distant future. It frames it as something you don't have yet, something you might never reach. But if you instead say, "I am becoming more confident every day," or even "I speak with calm and clarity," your brain begins to internalize that as something that is already happening. The present tense communicates certainty. It reinforces the idea that this is part of who you are, not something you're chasing, but something you are already stepping into. It's worth noting that affirmations in the present tense don't have to feel absolute. You can modify them in ways that feel more comfortable and authentic. For example, rather than saying, "I am fearless," which may feel unrealistic, you could say, "I face fear with courage." The subtle rewording allows the affirmation to live in the present moment while still acknowledging the complexity of your experience. But perhaps the most overlooked ingredient in an effective affirmation is emotion. Words alone are neutral until we bring feeling to them. It's not enough to just say your affirmation like a robot reading a script. You have to feel it, even just a little. Your body and your brain respond to emotional signals. That's how memories are formed, habits are wired, and beliefs are cemented. If your affirmation carries no emotional charge, if it doesn't spark even the slightest shift in your posture, breath, or energy, it's unlikely to stick. So how do you bring emotion into an affirmation? First, choose words that actually matter to you. Don't just pick affirmations off a Pinterest board or a motivational video if they don't feel right. Sit with yourself and ask, what do I most need to hear right now? Is it encouragement? Is it permission to rest? Is it a reminder of your strength or your potential? Craft your affirmation from that space. It might be something as simple as, I am doing my best and that is enough. When you say that with sincerity, it has far more impact than a flashy generic phrase with no personal meaning. Also, speak slowly and intentionally. Let the words land. Let them echo. Look at yourself in the mirror if you can and speak your affirmation with eye contact. Let your body respond. You might feel a lump in your throat, a warmth in your chest, or even tears welling up. That's not weakness. That's the affirmation sinking in. That's healing. Another tip to amplify emotion is to use visualization. When you say your affirmation, close your eyes and imagine what your life looks like when it's true. If your affirmation is, I handle challenges with calm and strength, picture yourself doing exactly that. See yourself navigating a difficult conversation, staying grounded, making good decisions, and coming out the other side with grace. That image, paired with the affirmation, reinforces the new identity you are claiming. It's also important to remember that effective affirmations are specific. The more detailed and relevant they are to your life, the more they resonate. Instead of saying, I am successful, which can mean 1,000 different things, try, I am proud of the way I show up with integrity and purpose in my work. That's tangible. That's real. It's easier for your mind to grasp and accept. Consistency, of course, plays a role too. A single affirmation said once will do little, but when you say it daily, when it becomes part of your morning, your journaling, your breath during moments of anxiety, it begins to etch itself into your internal dialogue. Over time, that repetition builds belief, and belief drives behavior. Before you know it, your affirmation is no longer something you have to remind yourself of. It's something you naturally embody. What makes an affirmation truly work is the combination of truth, presence, emotion, and repetition. When all these elements come together, the words you speak to yourself become more than just words. They become intentions. They become identity. They become the foundation of a new inner story, one that is grounded in self-compassion, personal growth, and a deep trust in your ability to evolve. Affirmations aren't magic, but they are transformative, not because they change the world outside of you overnight, but because they change the world inside you, gradually, deeply, and powerfully. And once that inner world begins to shift, everything else begins to shift with it. Most people understand that affirmations can be helpful. They may even try them once or twice, but the real transformation comes not from knowing affirmations exist. It comes from practicing them daily with consistency and intention. Like brushing your teeth, eating healthy, or exercising, affirmations only become effective when they become a habit, something you do regularly, almost automatically, without resistance or overthinking. And like any habit, their power multiplies through repetition and routine. The mistake many people make is treating affirmations as something optional or occasional, something they do only when they're feeling down or uncertain. But that's like only drinking water when you're dehydrated. It's reactive, not proactive. Affirmations are most effective when they're part of your everyday rhythm, woven into the fabric of your daily life, not just as crisis management, but as identity building. The goal isn't to recite words for the sake of it. The goal is to train your inner voice to support you, to empower you, and to guide you through each day with more strength and clarity. So how do you actually use affirmations in a way that sticks? The first and perhaps most powerful method is to start your morning with them. Your mind is most impressionable in the first few minutes after waking. In that space between sleep and full alertness, your subconscious is still open, still receptive. Instead of reaching for your phone and diving into emails or news, take just 5 minutes for yourself. Sit up, take a deep breath, and speak your affirmations out loud. Say them slowly slowly. Let the words hang in the air. Feel their meaning, even if they still feel a little unfamiliar. This isn't about performance. It's about setting an emotional tone for your day. You can stand in front of a mirror while doing this, which adds another layer of intensity and connection. Mirror work forces you to look yourself in the eyes while speaking truth into your own reflection. It's surprisingly powerful. At first, you might feel silly or uncomfortable. That's natural. Many people have spent years, sometimes decades, avoiding eye contact with themselves, but that discomfort is often the very reason to keep going. The more you practice, the more those affirmations begin to feel like a conversation with your future self, someone who already embodies the qualities you're working toward. Another way to reinforce affirmations is through writing. When you write something down, it engages a different part of your brain than when you speak it. Writing slows your thoughts down. It forces you to be deliberate. You're not just hearing the affirmation, you're also seeing it and physically committing it to paper. This adds depth. You can keep a small notebook or affirmation journal and make it part of your morning or evening routine. Write 3 to 5 affirmations each day. If you have time, add a sentence or two explaining why that affirmation matters to you. This adds emotion and personal meaning, which are essential ingredients for real change. Affirmations are also incredibly useful throughout the day, especially during emotional transitions or moments of stress. Life throws challenges at us constantly. An unexpected email, a difficult conversation, a wave of anxiety out of nowhere. These are the moments where affirmations move from a theoretical tool to a practical one. Instead of letting your thoughts spiral, take a breath and use a targeted affirmation. For instance, if you're about to have a difficult meeting, tell yourself, I speak clearly and calmly under pressure. I trust myself to handle this with grace. That single moment of intentional self-talk can completely shift how you walk into the room. One of the best times to use affirmations is when you catch yourself engaging in negative self-talk. Most of us have a running inner dialogue, and often it's critical, judgmental, or self-defeating. You might hear yourself thinking things like, I'm so lazy, or I never get this right. When you catch those thoughts, pause. Don't shame yourself for thinking them. That's normal and human. Instead, interrupt the pattern. Replace the negative comment with a compassionate, corrective affirmation. Say something like, I may not be perfect, but I am making progress, or I am learning and growing with every step. This is how you retrain your mind, by noticing the old dialogue and consciously choosing a new one. Technology can also be used to your advantage. Set reminders on your phone with affirmations that pop up at different times during the day. Use sticky notes on your bathroom mirror, your laptop, your refrigerator. These small prompts serve as cues, gentle nudges that bring you back to your intention. Over time, your brain starts to associate those phrases with a feeling of reassurance and stability. They become anchors you can return to no matter what your external circumstances look like. Incorporating affirmations into movement is another powerful practice. Speak them while walking, stretching, or exercising. There's something uniquely grounding about connecting words with physical activity. The rhythm of movement helps the words settle deeper into your nervous system. It's not just a mental exercise anymore. It becomes a full body experience. You're literally embodying the affirmation as you move through space, as you take up space, and as you claim your place in the world. Even your breath can become part of the practice. Combine affirmations with deep breathing to regulate your nervous system and root the words into your body. Inhale, say silently, I am safe. Exhale, say, I release what I cannot control. You can create your own rhythm, pairing breath and mantra in a way that calms your mind and centers your attention. This can be done in just a few minutes, yet the impact can last for hours. Some people also like to record their affirmations in their own voice and play them back while driving, working, or relaxing. Hearing your own voice speak affirming truths, especially when paired with soft music or background sounds, can have a soothing, hypnotic effect. It's another way to layer in repetition, especially if you struggle to find time to sit down and focus. Even if your schedule is packed and chaotic, affirmations can find a place in the spaces between. You can repeat them while washing your hands, walking to your car, or waiting in line. These tiny moments, often overlooked, are perfect pockets for rewiring your mindset. And over time, with consistency, something subtle but powerful begins to shift. The affirmations stop feeling like something you're trying to believe and start becoming things you do believe. The truth is, using affirmations daily isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about choosing again and again to guide your inner dialogue in a direction that serves you rather than sabotages you. You don't need an hour of free time. You don't need the perfect words. You just need the willingness to show up for yourself with intention. Even a single sentence, spoken with feeling, repeated with love, and believed just a little more each day, can change how you see yourself and how you show up in the world. That's the quiet, powerful revolution of daily affirmations. When it comes to choosing affirmations that truly work, the key isn't finding the most poetic or impressive phrases. What matters most is choosing affirmations that feel honest, believable, and emotionally resonant. An affirmation is not a magic spell. It's a seed. Its purpose is to be planted in the mind, nurtured over time, and eventually grown into a new pattern of thought. The right affirmation, used consistently, becomes part of your inner language. It becomes the script you refer to when life becomes uncertain, when fear creeps in, or when old patterns try to return. That's why the examples you use must be carefully chosen, not from a place of fantasy, but from a grounded sense of hope, desire, and personal truth. Let's explore some examples across different areas of life, starting with self-worth. For many people, the most persistent negative thoughts are about their own value. Years of criticism, trauma, or cultural messaging can lead us to feel that we're not good enough, not smart enough, not lovable enough. To shift that internal dialogue, you might use affirmations like, "I am enough, just as I am." This simple phrase works not because it's flashy, but because it addresses a deep-rooted belief. It doesn't require you to be perfect or to achieve anything. It invites you to accept yourself in the present. Another powerful affirmation in this area is, "I honor my progress no matter how small." This phrase builds self-compassion and encourages you to see growth instead of lack. Confidence is another area where affirmations can be transformative. If you struggle with self-doubt or fear of failure, consider affirmations like, "I trust myself to make good decisions." This helps reframe your internal narrative from hesitation to empowerment. It doesn't claim you'll never make mistakes. It simply affirms that you are capable and trustworthy. Another helpful phrase is, "I am confident in my voice and my presence." Repeating this regularly helps reduce social anxiety and strengthens your ability to show up authentically. The repetition of confidence-based affirmations doesn't make you arrogant. It anchors you in your own inner authority, especially when the world tries to pull you away from it. Relationships are deeply affected by the way we speak to ourselves. If you've ever found yourself in a pattern of unhealthy dynamics, people-pleasing, or abandonment issues, the way you relate to others often starts with the way you relate to yourself. Affirmations like, "I am worthy of love that respects and supports me," or "I set boundaries with clarity and kindness," are powerful reminders that you are not obligated to shrink or sacrifice your needs in relationships. Over time, these phrases help you develop a healthier sense of emotional sovereignty. They reinforce the truth that you don't have to earn love by abandoning yourself. When it comes to stress, anxiety, and emotional overwhelm, grounding affirmations are essential. These are the phrases you can use in the heat of a panic attack or during moments of fear to bring yourself back into the present moment. Examples include, "I am safe in this moment," or "With every breath, I feel more calm and centered." The simplicity of these statements is intentional. They're easy to remember, quick to repeat, and gentle on the nervous system. Sometimes it's not about fixing everything. It's about creating a sense of internal safety until the wave passes. Affirmations can also help reshape your relationship with your body. In a world that constantly promotes unrealistic standards, body mimic struggles are common. Affirmations that encourage respect and compassion for your physical self can make a huge difference. For example, "My body is a source of strength and wisdom," or "I treat my body with care and gratitude." These types of affirmations don't focus on appearance. They focus on appreciation. They help you stop waging war with your reflection and instead build a partnership with your body, one rooted in care rather than criticism. In the realm of career and purpose, affirmations can help you step into courage, creativity, and self-trust. If you're facing imposter syndrome or struggling to find direction, phrases like, "I am open to opportunities that align with my purpose," or "I have the skills and resilience to grow in my career," can help reframe your inner doubts. These affirmations don't pretend that everything will be easy. They remind you that you are resourceful and adaptable. Sometimes the biggest challenge is not a lack of ability, but a lack of belief in your ability. Financial affirmations are often misunderstood. They're not about manifesting millions overnight. They're about rewiring your relationship with money. If you've internalized scarcity or shame around finances, consider affirmations like, "I am learning to manage money with clarity and confidence," or "Abundance flows to me through aligned action and value." These statements help release old stories of fear and failure and replace them with a mindset of possibility and responsibility. When repeated often, they create the mental space to make better decisions and take smarter risks. There are also spiritual affirmations which focus on trust, surrender, and connection. For those navigating uncertainty or seeking a sense of meaning, phrases like, I trust the timing of my life, or I am guided by wisdom greater than my own can provide comfort. These affirmations are not necessarily religious. They are about aligning with a deeper sense of peace, whether that comes from faith, intuition, or your own inner compass. To be clear, you don't need a long list of affirmations. Sometimes one or two deeply resonant phrases are enough. What matters is that they feel true, or at least possible. The most effective affirmations live in the space between who you are and who you're becoming. They acknowledge your potential without ignoring your humanity. If you're struggling to believe an affirmation fully, you can soften the language. Instead of I am confident, try I am learning to believe in myself more each day. That subtle shift makes it easier for your brain to accept the message, and once it accepts it, it starts to act accordingly. You can also personalize your affirmations by adding your name. For example, I, Sarah, am strong, capable, and growing every day. Speaking to yourself this way, especially in a mirror, activates self-recognition. It's a declaration, not just a mantra. It turns the affirmation into a statement of identity. Ultimately, the affirmations that actually work are the ones you use. They become effective through presence, practice, and emotional connection. You don't need to wait until you feel strong, clear, or worthy to use them. You start where you are. With shaky hands, with doubt in your voice, with tears in your eyes if needed. This is where you are right now with pain. And so if you're in a situation where you feel like you need to, and slowly, gently, those words start to root themselves into your inner world. The day will come when the affirmations you once had to force will be the ones you speak instinctively. Not because life is perfect, but because you've rewritten the voice inside you to one that supports your growth, your healing, and your truth. That's the power of real working affirmations. Not to impress others or escape reality, but to build a stronger, kinder reality within yourself.